Hi, I'm Rob Shaver, and this is Spark to Flame, where I bring you ideas, insights, and inspiration for better marriages. Today, I wanted to talk about, well, if you read the description, you know, but it's crazy to think about that if you look into YouTube or Google trends and see the things that people are searching for, even today in the top 25, Baby Shark makes the list. That's right, Baby Shark, do 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 do. It's a song that I've probably been exposed to and singing since I was 6 or 8 years old, maybe 10, at summer camp. And then what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer? It made this huge comeback. Pinkfong made some YouTube videos or put the song on there, and just it blew up. And every kid in America was, and maybe even around the world, was singing Baby Shark. So much so that they started making plush toys. They started making video games, or like apps and board games and all kinds of accessories, T-shirts. It's just all over the place. And the thing about Baby Shark is it does relate to our marriages, and this is how is you know what a song like that does to you is it gets in your brain, right? Like you hear the song and you're like, oh, and this. Sometimes, usually not initially annoying, right? It's in your brain, you hear it, it's catchy. There's a reason why it's so popular and famous. It's catchy, right? And there's a number of songs you can think about. Let It Go from Disney's Frozen several years ago is still one that if it gets on, that'll get in your head, or your kids will hear it and they'll be singing it for the next week. But what happens is we hear that song. It's catchy, it gets in our brains, but then it's like we get too much of it. Our brains become overrun with it and overwhelmed by it, and so we start to feel annoyed by it, and we just want it to go away, right? And then when it gets played over and over again, which kids are great at doing, right now we've been listening to this steady stream of some song about Baby Yoda liking chicken nuggies, and it's raining tacos. So all kinds of great things being listened to in my household. But that's what they get in your head, and they're catchy and they're there. And you might even say, oh, turn it off, I can't stand this. But then later you're humming it or you're singing it. All right, so this is just kind of a phase that we go through in relationships, not just with songs, but with people, right? We do it growing up. I've got a 2-year-old right now. And for the first 2 years of her life, she loved mommy and daddy unconditionally. It didn't matter what was going on in the world. If she had an opportunity to be held by one of us, she took that opportunity. And then there becomes this kind of phase of detachment, where being with us is not the most important thing in her life. And in fact, it's not what her identity is based off of. She wants to be her own person. So no longer does she always want to be carried down the stairs or helped here and there. She wants to come down the stairs by herself. She wants to climb up the thing herself, right? Because she's showing that she's strong and independent and can do this. The same thing happens in romantic relationships. We start out with just that, romance. And in the beginning of a relationship where there's a lot of infatuation and excitement and romance, that's how you see the other person. You tend not to see their faults. You see everything great about them, and you want them to know everything great about you. And so you are willing to and want to spend a lot of time with each other, right? Phone calls until midnight or after midnight, getting together as soon as you get out of work, or as soon as you're done with school, getting together and spending all day with each other. And you love that, and you love each other, and it grows and it grows and grows. And then that phase eventually ends. And what happens is individuals detach. There's conflict, right? There comes a point where you say, I love you and I really want to be with you all the time, except there's an identity that I still need to know and find that is separate from you. And so that happens kind of the inside part of us. And then the way that we view them is, even though they're very catchy, right, and we like them, and then our head and we're humming their tune, so to speak, is we just want to turn that off, right? We see them, and what was once catchy now can even be annoying. And so this is kind of a conflict phase. Now, when people are dating, it's when you get to this phase that's really, this is the make or break time in a relationship. You either get to this point and you're like, okay, yeah, I spent my time alone and I liked that better. Or I got to have some distance from you and now I see you in a different light I don't really like and I don't want to be with you. Or it causes you to have that distance and say, okay, I like who I am, but I like who I am with you and I want to be with you. So when the conflict stage comes to a close, what happens is we can have a stage of commitment. The labels that I use for these 3 stages are from a book that's called How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Richo. So How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Richo. And so those are the 3 phases, would be romance, conflict, and commitment. But the thing is when you get to that stage of commitment, you've come through romance, so you've seen the best things of them. You've come through conflict where they have just been, you've seen the worst of them, or you think the worst of them, and you just get annoyed with each other. And you hear about these, like the conflict of the first year of marriage, right? Like where it's like all the little things with like the whole like tube of toothpaste things and leaving the toilet seat up and how do they do the toilet paper, and there's all those little idiosyncrasies that like you're meshed together and you're with each other all of the time and everything was beautiful and now everything's annoying. When you work through that conflict phase, then you can truly have commitment. My roommate, I remember in college one night we were opening the door to our dorm room and it squeaked. And so it's just, we would open it and close it. It was loud. And he kept doing it and doing it. And it was kind of annoying, but we thought it was funny. And we thought it was funny if we just kept doing it, see if people down the hall would open up their doors and see what was going on. Just over and over. And it was late and we were laughing and we were just having a great time. And then he just kept doing it. So I was like, dude, you've got to stop. It's getting really annoying. And he's like, no, Rob, I've got this theory that if there's something that's funny, if you keep doing it, eventually it'll become annoying. But if you keep doing it, it'll get funny again. And sure enough, he squeaked our door for 10 or 15 minutes before everybody in that room was on the floor laughing because of a simple squeaking door. It was late, granted, but that was his theory and it proved to be true for us. But it's just kind of how we work with relationships, right? If we have that period of infatuation and love and interest and excitement, and then we get where we're worn out and we need our space and we need our time and the thing gets annoying to us. But if we can stick with it and we can work through that, then commitment becomes beautiful. So the next time you hear Baby Shark, remember how much you love your spouse. The next time you're getting annoyed with your spouse, just sing Baby Shark to them. And then you'll just remember, you know what? This is okay. It's okay to have periods where we're frustrated with each other. It's okay to have times where we get a little annoyed with each other, because in the end, we are committed to one another, and that makes our love even greater and even more wonderful. So, Baby Shark, do. That's your spark. That's today's spark. May it turn to a flame, or whatever that means. May your sparks turn to flames.